as we become more and more conscious, it's really important for us to realize what we really want, what we genuinely want. There's this song by Ellen Walker called A Different World. This is not the world we had in mind, but we got time. Stuck on answers we can't find, but we've got time. It's a beautiful song. I love the honesty. This is not the world we had in mind. This is not the world we wanted. Is this the world that you wanted? Is this the world that you would have preferred? We need to be honest about what we want and what we prefer. A lot of people think that they love this world because not loving it is considered a bad thing. Like, if you don't love this world, you are the one to be blamed. You see, it's like if you are not happy, you are the one that people are going to blame. If you say I'm not happy, they'll blame you. Why are you not happy? Why don't you try to find what makes you happy? If you think there's something wrong with this world, people will blame you. There's been so many people who've commented on my channel who were blaming me for thinking the way that I think. It's like, no, this is a beautiful world. It means there's something wrong with you. If you don't see that this is a beautiful world, you'll be like, yo, it is a beautiful world. It looks beautiful on the outside. But if you pay attention to how things really work, you'd realize that it's the opposite. Yes, when you're seeing students graduating, that seems beautiful, right? But what was the purpose of education? What do people even learn that really makes them special? That will make you think that it was worth it. 15 years that they've sacrificed. You'd say, nah, it's worth it. Yes, it's beautiful when you see an artist holding an award, celebrating. You see Beyonce holding an award and crying. How the winners selected? You see someone who's very rich and who's enjoying their lives. Why are they successful? What really made them successful? Were they working harder than everyone else? Or they were just lucky because the system is not perfect? And really, should we live in a world where some people can be super rich and some people can be super broke? Is that even natural? I was having a conversation with someone and I was telling them that money is a scam. You see, it will be impossible for someone to be worth a billion if there was no money. So money allows people to become super rich and makes it hard for some people to make to kind of like, you know, make ends meet. You know what I mean? People do not want to accept that this is not the world that they would prefer, because it's the only world that they know. If you're born in an island and you only met one person, even if that person is toxic, even if that person is crazy, even if that person is dumb, even if that person doesn't care about you, you'll stick with them because they're the only person that you know. You don't even know if there are other people. So of course you're gonna have to stick with the person that you know, and you will have to defend them. When they do something that doesn't make sense, you will find a way to defend them. Be like, yeah, maybe this person was just angry. You can't compare them with another person. No matter how they could be the most toxic human ever, you will always defend them. Because you don't have another person to compare them with. You understand what I'm saying to you? This is the only world that you know. It's a world where we rely on other sentient beings for energy, and they have to suffer for us to get the energy that we want, and they don't want to give us this energy. If a rabbit gets chased by a lion, it's in fear. It doesn't want to get killed, but the lion gotta eat. It's the kind of world that we've found ourselves in. You cannot tell me that that is not sick. The problem is that this is the only world that we know. You don't know a world where if you lose your hand, it grows back. You don't even feel pain. See, if you are injured, you don't feel pain. Your wounds just heal. Do you think that a world like that would have been impossible, where you don't even feel pain? You feel zero pain. A world where there was no need for pain. So if your leg is broken, it just heals itself. A world where there was no jealousy. A world where people don't want to take what other people have. They just don't want to. They were not programmed to want to take what other people have. A world big enough for people who want to isolate themselves. A world where there were no laws, no morality. And you might be like, oh, what do you mean? No morality. Listen, no one can get hurt in that world, so you just do what you want. And then in the end, there's no morality. Because now there's a reason why there's morality is because people get hurt, But no one gets hurt. And no one even desires to hurt anyone. So we don't even have that. We don't even have laws. We don't even have rules. People just do what they want. No one can get hurt in the end. A world where people were super conscious and they knew how to, behave in ways that were benefiting themselves and everyone. Don't tell me that kind of world is impossible. And if you compare that kind of world with this world, you'll see that this world is trash. But you don't have another world to compare this world with. So you're like, this is beautiful, this is beautiful. No, it's not. There are people in hospitals, bro. Sick. Some are suffering from terminal illnesses. You're like, damn, that's not right. They didn't cause that. They didn't want to go through that. Someone has cancer. Don't even have money to pay for chemotherapy. Like, you know what I'm saying? That is suffering. There are people who know that maybe they have a friend who has money. That friend doesn't even care. We like to pretend as if we care, but do we? Trash is trash, guys. There's a reason why there are people who are in toxic relationships. Everyone can say they're in toxic relationships, but they do not leave these relationships. You know why? It's because that's all they think they can have. If I leave this relationship, I'm not going to find someone else. That's what they tell themselves, or that's what they believe. So they stay in this toxic relationship. It's kind of, it's like they defend this toxic relationship. Even if everyone is saying, no, this person is not good for you, this person is not right for you, and even if they themselves can see that, they're like, yeah, this is all I can have. They're not able to say, look, this person is not good for me, so they gotta change, and if they don't change, then I'm not going to love them anymore. It's the same with this world. Let me tell you something. If it was possible for people to go to different worlds, and that to go to a different world, you just need to imagine the kind of world that you want, and you just find yourself in that world. And if you don't like it, like you thought you would, you imagine a better world, I don't think people would choose this world. Maybe the only people who choose this world are the people who are very gullible, because of course if you were to talk to a soul before it comes here, and you advertise Earth as a very good planet where there's freedom, there's love, there's music, all of that, it will look like this is a great planet. But when you look deep, you're like, nah. Things ain't what they seem. Trash is trash. And this world is trash. Our role models, they're not better. They're not better than us. It's not like for someone to become a celebrity, they have to be someone super special. Like they have to be kind, they have to be smart. They have to have the best intentions and they have to be the best role model. No, no, no. It's just a normal human who becomes lucky. Does your president seem better than your friends? You're like, yeah, I can understand why this guy is a president. Or when you listen to him speak, you're like, this guy is just like any other guy. He's just like any other guy. Does he deserve that position? Should he be making decisions that affect millions of people? How did he even become a president? He realized that it was corruption. It was through corruption. Maybe he had money. Maybe he was charismatic. Maybe he was just at the right place at the right time. But he's your leader now, and he's making decisions for you, and we are not the same as people. So one guy making decisions that affect millions of people, that doesn't seem right. I was having a conversation with someone about the death penalty. I was like, even though I'm not even tell you what I believe about the death penalty, but if you ask people in my country to vote, whether they want the death penalty to be brought back or not, I believe that most people will vote for the death penalty to be brought back. You want to know why? Because of the crime, the raising crime in our country. Like they can see that a lot of criminals are free to do whatever they want. Now, people in government will say, people who are in, politicians will say, the death penalty shouldn't be brought back, and they will come up with their own reasons, and it's fine. They are safe. They have bodyguards, they're safe, most of them. They live, like where they live, they're safe. No one can just break into their house. Like no ordinary person can just break into their house. They're safe. They drive cars that are safe. They have people who are protecting them 24/7. They're safe, right? But most of the citizens in this country are not safe. 2 months back, a kid was killed in my town because he was trying to protect his sisters. These 3 guys broke into their house, started stealing from them, and then they tried to rape his sister, and he was like, no, I'm not going to allow that to happen. He tried to defend his sister and he got shot and he died. We're talking about someone who had done a lot and who had invested a lot in himself, and who still wanted to be here and do what they wanted to do because they already invested a lot. You know what I mean? To just lose a life like that because some guy just wanted to rob them. A lot of people would vote for the death penalty to be brought back, but the people who are in government and people who are in parliament will say no. It's just few people, few less than 50 people who make that decision will say no. Is that fair? Are they smarter than the rest of the country? Or it will be better if it was the people who are voting for what they want at the end of the day? The reason why I'm saying this is because it doesn't feel right that the people who get to be in power are not people who are, super intelligent, better than everyone else, but they are making decisions for everyone else. Something about it doesn't feel right. And that tells you something. People are making decisions because they were charismatic enough, they were lucky enough, they were born in the right families. Like King Joffrey in Game of Thrones, born in the right family, so he became a king. If you pay close attention, you realize that everything about this realm is wrong. Like there's nothing. Like listen, there are things that seem right on the outside, but when you look deeply, like I remember last year I had a conversation with this guy, who's my principal. I had a conversation with him about, when political parties in South Africa want people to vote for them, they will go to different villages and different towns, and when they're campaigning, and they would, give people free T-shirts, free water bottles, free food, free drinks, and they'll tell them to vote for them. And you'll be like, they are not even people who vote for them are not going to vote for them because they are right. These people, no, they want to vote for them because they were bought, basically. It's like prostitution. It's like they go out and buy votes. What if people had real debates? No political parties given money to go out and campaign. Like, no, listen, there has to be live debates. People, are encouraged to watch this debate, and they vote live. And everything is as transparent as possible, so there's not gonna be fraud. And people debate live. But now it's about power. It's about money. Who has money? If you have money, people are gonna be like, "Oh, this guy has money." If he's more visible than everyone else. It's like, nah, nothing. When you look deep into everything, you realize that nothing really makes sense. Nothing really makes sense. Job interviews. They tell you how to dress, how to speak. Don't use your hands. Don't look down. Be as confident as possible. So what happens is that people act the way that they're expected to act. They're not gonna be real. They're not gonna be honest. They just act. Like, oh, this is how they want me to act. They even practice, in the mirror. Like, this is how I gotta answer questions. He'd be like, all of this is trash, bro. They have to act just to get a job. Find that there are people who can do the job better. They just can't act. So we live in a world that looks beautiful on the outside. The trees are beautiful. But what's happening? What's happening in these trees? Like behind the leaves, what's happening? What's happening in the police station? There's a police station. It looks beautiful, right? These houses look beautiful, but what's happening inside these houses? Humans look beautiful, but what's happening inside them? What do they think? The truth is horrible. I'm distracted by people who are fighting. It's the fact that we fight sometimes is a sign that something is wrong. You know how often people try to not to like control themselves when they're angry. This reminds me of this new TV series, the Korean TV series. It's called Trigon. A few minutes into the series, this kid walked into a classroom while the teacher was teaching, opens his guitar case, and there was a gun, and he started shooting everyone. But then we were shown that that's what he was imagining. That's how people are. It's like they will imagine, like they'll be angry and they would want to do something horrible but not do it. Like there's so much that we're hiding. Because we're trying to protect this trash. And yes, of course, it's a good thing to control your anger. But I think we should be honest about how we feel. Try to control your anger, because at the end of the day, just because this is trash does not mean that you must make it worse. You know, I must be able to say as Benedictine that, yo, man, I was in this situation where I really felt like punching someone, but I didn't. Because we do find ourselves in those situations. Sometimes we don't listen to our intrusive thoughts because we're afraid of consequences. But it also shows you that as humans we are not perfect. We are actually flawed. We are just trying to be perfect, and it even gets to a point where we just pretend to be perfect. You find that not only are we not perfect, we only pretend to be perfect when we are in front of people, but when we are alone or we are just with like a few people, then that's when we reveal our true nature, you know. Like you think of someone like what's the name of this lady? Her name, I think, it's Ellen DeGrey. She's a lesbian. I forgot her surname. Or Ellen DeGeneres or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Call her Ellen DeGeneres. When I was young, I liked her. Like she just Like she was always smiling, you know what I mean? Always smiling. She knew how to interview people. Always looked like she's having fun, and but then people who worked with her tell you that, oh no, she's actually horrible. Like behind the scenes, she's really, really. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Is this how the world is? It's like everyone is faking, basically. Behind the scenes, people are very horrible, but they are showing you what they think you want to see. You see? They're showing you what they think you want to see. So can we really say this is good? Can we really say this ain't trash? Sometimes I think we turn a blind eye on things that are truly horrible. And maybe we're doing that because we're just trying to, cope. But it does get to a point where we don't understand how things really work in the world. There's someone who made a documentary about, girls who get kidnapped, and it's about sex. Like what I mean. Like they'll get kidnapped and then they'll be taken to other countries, and they don't know how to go back home, and they'll be given drugs, and they'll be used as sex slaves. That happens in this realm. A lot of things that the thing is that we are only looking at what's going on in our own lives, and when you focus and even if you do focus on the horrors that you've had to experience, you'll realize that it's crazy. But if you're going to try to pay attention to what other people have experienced, you'll be like, nah. We can say that bad things are not always happening, so that means that this is good. Yes, it's not perfect, but bad things are not happening. And what I'm telling you is that if this world was good, bad things wouldn't even be happening. It wouldn't be possible for bad things to happen. These bad things that be happening are not making life better. They're not making this realm more entertaining. These things are making this realm horrible. We might think that we're supposed to like trash, but learning to love trash doesn't make you a better person. We must be able to call trash trash. Just because someone is able to survive in trash doesn't mean they're healthy. Because that's what we tell ourselves. Like we believe that if you're truly healthy, you should be able to survive in trash. But really, it's the opposite. A person who's clean doesn't want to live in a place that's not clean. But a person who's not clean doesn't mind living in a place that's not clean. You get what I'm saying? That's what I say. It's not the measure of health to be well adjusted in a profoundly sick society. And it's true. Some of y'all blame yourselves a lot because you're unable to cope and you just think that there's something wrong with you. But when you find yourself in a better environment, you tend to thrive. Like maybe if you grew up in a town where everyone was toxic, everything was just wrong. Maybe you grew up in the gutter, or you grew up in the hood, you know, in the project, and you just can't survive in that kind of environment. Like people be shooting at each other all the time. People think that getting arrested is a flex. Like, yeah, people are proud of you in the street because you got arrested, and when you come back, everyone is proud of you. You know what I'm saying? You don't thrive in that kind of environment. But then if you find yourself in a better environment, you find yourself thriving. And you find that those people who thrive in that kind of environment, they cannot thrive in an environment where you're thriving, because it's a good environment. It's not a toxic environment. So you thrive in a non-toxic environment. All right. So I'll give it to you. Let me just finish recording. I'm recording. All right, sure. So if you grow up in a toxic environment, you might thrive because you are also toxic. But if you grow up in a toxic environment and you're not toxic, it's gonna be very difficult for you to thrive. You see, in those who are able to thrive in jail, you might think these are like the healthiest people. Like, oh, to be able to survive jail, you must be the healthiest person. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. What are the things that you're supposed to do to survive in jail? Trash is trash. We must be able to call trash trash. Some of y'all weren't able to cope since you were little, and you never understood why. You didn't realize that you weren't able to cope because this is trash. So you blamed yourself. We're very good when it comes to blaming ourselves. So you blamed yourself. Since you were little, you never felt like this place was your home. Like, it never felt like that. It always felt like something was wrong. It always felt like your soul didn't like this very much. Like when you're truly like in touch with your spirit, all of this feels wrong. But of course, what can you do? You just keep on going. You just keep on fighting. Keep on learning. If the world was in trash, you will be happy. I'm telling you. It will not feel like trash and you will be happy. Some people say they're happy, but I don't know if everyone knows what happiness is. Some people say they're happy just because they're not sad. If people were happy, they'll be behaving much differently, bro. This is not how happy people this is not how happy people behave. Like, they'll be behaving differently. Ever seen kids, bro? Kids that are happy. Have you seen how they behave? Have you seen how kids that are sad behave? They behaved exactly how we behave. as a collective. Kids that are sad behave exactly how we behave as a collective, and kids that are happy, you'd see that they're happy. You won't even have to ask. They're just happy, bro. Like, they're just having fun. They're enjoying their lives. You greet strangers in the street and you can see that, damn, people ain't okay. It's not easy to fake happiness, bro. People are competing with one another. How people who are actually happy don't even want to compete. They just want to have fun. They can create some games, but it's not really for competition. It's just fun. It's like they're having fun. Now we're competing for survival, bro. Like life itself is turned into an actual game, but it's that's what's making life difficult, because if we treat life as a game and it's not fair, and there are no rules, there are no rules, that there are no universal rules, there are no, you know what I'm saying. Of course it's gonna be difficult. Life is really gonna be difficult because people ain't gonna agree on the same things. The worst thing about life now is that it doesn't seem like it's going to get better. It doesn't seem like that's what was supposed to happen in the first place. It seems like those who are in power really want things to be this way. And if things got better, then, life would be difficult for them. They want people to, remain stupid, not stand up for themselves, not stand up for what they believe in. They want everyone to not have power. They want everyone to live in fear, to be less than what they are. The fact that we have prisons tells you that this is trash. The fact that we have hospitals tells you this is trash. People shouldn't even be getting sick, but some people in mental hospitals, because you have to understand that a lot of things about this realm ain't good, bro. How many people do not have jobs? They're just alive. No money at all. They own nothing. And they didn't want things to be that way. You shouldn't feel bad for not loving this. Maybe you should feel like you are sane. Maybe you should feel like you are intelligent. Maybe you should feel like you're conscious. Embrace the part of you that doesn't feel like this is right. And try to figure out how to be the best version of yourself in a world that is not right. In a world that is toxic. So that you'll make your experience better, but also you'll make the experience of those who are around you better. Even if, the world is trying to make you this horrible person because it's trash, you're still able to remain strong. I look around me, I see people who feel defeated, who actually feel defeated and who feel hopeless. Like, they're so defeated and hopeless that they can't even admit it to themselves. So after knowing that there's nothing wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you for feeling the way that you feel, then you need to try to regain your power. Go back to what you originally were and what you could have been if you stayed the way that you were, instead of living in fear and all of that, because you are in this world that is trash, in a world that's like the fact that corruption exists should also tell you something. And the fact that corrupt people can end up winning should also tell you something. The fact that people can get away with doing evil things should also tell you something. The fact that this world favors those who, are kind of like selfish and who cares about themselves should also tell you something. It's not like the kindest people are the ones who are winning. Being super kind doesn't really help. You find that people who are super kind are being taken advantage of. Like, there are a lot of things that are just wrong, bro. 9 to 5, people waking up in the morning every day, going to work, jobs that they do not like. There's nothing wrong with working, but if you're working a job that you don't like, I don't know if that's yeah, you might not really have a choice, but that doesn't make the world good. People should be enjoying their work. They should be working jobs that they actually like. When a person thinks of going to work, they must feel happy. When people think of going to work, like on Mondays, like people stress, bruh. Sunday night when they go to sleep, I'm like, tomorrow when I wake up, I have to go to work. I wish tomorrow was a holiday. Yeah, that's a sign that this is trash. People think that they wouldn't appreciate the good if the bad didn't exist. No, bruh. You would appreciate the good even if the bad didn't exist. And you'll hate the bad even if the good didn't exist. It's like being in a toxic relationship with a person that maybe you might not have liked them very much, but this person is, sometimes they give you what you want, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you expect it, and then they don't give you what you want, and then sometimes you don't expect that they give you, like, they're not consistent, right? You would think you love them, but you're just addicted. Like, you are expecting you expecting something. Like, when you're expecting something, you feel like you really want it. Ever been in a situation where, for example, you don't want to see a person, they call and they say they're coming, and then you become mentally prepared for them, and they don't come? You're gonna feel a bit disappointed. Not because you wanted to see them, you might not even have wanted to see them, but now you were mentally prepared. So toxic people, we think we love you because of that. So the world is kind of like that. It's toxic. Sometimes it gives you what you want, sometimes it doesn't. So it's not even giving you enough, but because sometimes it does give you what you want, you appreciate it more. It's like if you had a job where sometimes they paid you. So they pay you this month, and then maybe next month they do not pay you, or maybe they pay you 3 months in a row. The next month they don't pay you. The month after that they don't pay you, and then they pay you the month after that. They pay you all the money. Of course, that anticipation is gonna make you want it more, and then you think that what you're getting means a lot. Well, it's nothing. So that's what life is like. It's like now people think that if there was no bad, then good wouldn't exist. No, it will exist. It will just not be toxic, and people would really enjoy themselves, and they would actually be working towards something good as a collective. And that's not what we're actually doing. I hope this video doesn't look bad, actually, because of the light. And there's a reason why lately I've been focusing more on how we can control our own minds than to try to focus more on what's happening in the world, because the world is toxic. So what if we focus more on our own minds? Like, how do I control my own mind? So even if the world doesn't give me what I want, and then sometimes it gives me what I want and that makes me anxious, sometimes it gets me to expect things that I want and these things do not happen, how do I cope? How do I remain sane? How do I detach myself if things become unbearable? How do I make sure that things don't affect me as much because I'm detached from these things? Because I can see that the world will always be trash. We can try to make things better, and it's good to try to make things better. It doesn't mean that because your situation is trash, it has to be worse. But denying that your situation is trash isn't gonna help. So let's keep on evolving, even though it's hard. It's not easy to evolve in a world like this. But when you are the vision of yourself that you want to be, you will feel it that you are that. So focus more on becoming that vision of yourself, a vision that chooses love over fear all the time. Even if being fearful feels more justified. Thank you for watching until the end. Like the video, tell me what you think. Subscribe to the channel, share the video. Thank you.